Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important video. This is a re-upload, re-edited, where you see me talking with Palestinian activists. I want you to look as I upload it what is missing. See the missing audio. Okay, I knew they had removed audio of, how do I move this along? Here, this is Dr. David Duke. See this bit here? Is it going to catch up? Is it going to go there? Hello? Hello. Let me pause because this is not working well at all. Okay, we're there now. Suddenly I've gone to a super slow. Now, that is Dr. David Duke quoting about Rabbi Ovadia Yosef calling the best of the Gentiles should be killed, kill them all, blah, blah, blah. Excellent piece, but I knew not to put that in on the YouTube version. I forgot to edit it. So I wasn't sorry. I thought, oh, well, that's nice, YouTube. Instead of deleting it and copyright striking me or whatever, or community guideline strike, you just took the audio out. What I didn't realize, even though people had told me, was back over here, I'm at the train station talking about what? Unit 8200, Telpiot program, Australian military contracts, Leon Wend. Now I'm going to do a full show on Leon Wend. And let's just quickly listen to this little segment. You'll hear this woman who's about to come up, this redhead. Look at this Semite. You're about to see an absolute Semite. Pure, look at that, pure redhead, blue-eyed Arab Jew. No, she's a Russian Jew, a fucking nutcase, ultra-Orthodox settler. Listen to what she says. Where are we? Let's play.
It's a soul, but that's the Jewish law. And if that's what Joshua did, I've no doubt it's right.
I.e. kill everyone.
The application of the divine word to a complex world without that middle stage of interpretation.
Liar.
Be a very destructive, active.
Jewish Board of Deputies, liar. They edited out a lot of stuff. It's a contemporary foe. He's trying to say, look, these aren't contemporary foes. You know, they're talking about Amalek, kill all the Palestinians. And a secular academic, you see it in my original video I was arrested for, that's coming. You actually see the secular academic Hannah Kasher quotes the Old Testament, Book of Samuel. Slay them all, spare them not, kill men, women, and children, donkey, and that, leave nothing alive that breatheth. And she's a secular academic, and she used that in a paper to justify the collective punishment of Palestinians, men, women, and children. This is the lie. Oh, it's just some extremists. We're not really, no, your secular academics are calling for it. And then, of course, you see here, it goes into they just removed the audio, protect Leon Wend and a few others. Anyway, here is the full video. I urge you to please enjoy it. You will see extremely rare footage, and I mean really rare footage of me talking to Palestinian activists. We talk Israel Shamir, we talk Israel Shahak, we talk Paul Eisen, and all sorts of quotes. YouTube are regularly messing with my videos, regularly. They are messing with my videos on Patreon. There are employees at Patreon and YouTube who I noticed talk with each other, who are fucking with my accounts. I've never heard of this in my life. They are real-time editing. They took out Steve Bannon, J.D. Vance telling the Europeans, oh, you better have free speech or else. And they're giving asylum to white South Africans and free speech. And there's Steve Bannon with millions of views saying, Elon Musk isn't a free speech advocate. He's a globalist. He said Elon Musk can make you a rock star on X, or he can bury you so deep in the basement no one's ever going to see you. And I had that. They removed it. They removed that segment like it never existed. And I complained because I went back and watched it. And they were just thinking I wouldn't watch it. I go back and watch stuff all the fucking time. And I said to friends, oh my God, they're fucking editing my videos in real time. They're deleting my videos off Patreon. What the fuck is going on? Lo and behold, I go to record it all and show and make a video about it. It was back in. They put it back in. They are doing this in real time. Do you know anyone on the planet this is happening to? All right. Enjoy this video. David Duke has been removed. Let's see if they mess with this one again. It's an excellent video. Way back from 2014. Way back then. You got Louis and me at the rallies in Sydney going, Variant, Converse, all these Israeli companies got our calls and they're doing data intercepts for the police and we're in amongst the crowd handing out the flyers. No one ever does it. No one ever does it. That's us back in 2014, 10 years ago. Please enjoy this video. You'll love it. And we'll see how much more editing YouTube do of my videos. I mean, they are just a lot. Look, the reason is as the media machine spins endless false narratives, we find a gathering storm in the form of a pier off the coast of Gaza. The Biden administration is readying the landing of 2 Marine divisions in time. As the bodies pile up, lies beget lies, motive begets motive, political cause beats on political cause, but the song remains the same. A tiny state in the Middle East bends the wills of the most powerful nations on earth. When do we talk about it? All of it, not just a little bit of it, the whole story. From the international financial banking cartels, Rothschilds, City of London, the foundation system of control and funding of insane and seemingly organic popular culture movements, crisis actors, private corporate companies linked in with military intelligence. When do we talk about all of it? Just how the hell did this shoe salesman from the back alleys of Krakow, Poland accomplish this? That's Mr. Milikowski, not Netanyahu, whose real name is Benjamin Milikowski. My name is Brendan O'Connell. I'm from Perth, Western Australia. I'm 54 years old this year soon, and I spent 3 years in jail over this very issue you see unfolding in Gaza, the slaughter of over 30,000 men, women and children in a cage.
Extra security in the courtroom for the sentencing. After being told he would serve 3 years in jail, O'Connell yelled out, "That's a holiday camp compared to Gaza."
I travelled to Iran.
Yeah, this is Brendan O'Connell, the bell tower boy, in Tehran, the head of the funeral procession for former President Mr. Rafsanjani.
I travelled to Beirut, Lebanon.
Yeah, Hezbollah area. Okay.
At last, I'm in Lebanon. I'm in Beirut. It's 24th of February. It's 10:46 a.m. on Monday, and the Malaysian immigration kindly rang the Lebanese embassy, and they said no problem, come straight in. So that was very nice, and I spilled the beans along with many others many years ago, even on Lebanese TV.
I would like you to tell us about how Israel rules everything and dominates cybersecurity and the high technology sector via something called the Talpiot program.
I first heard of the Talpiot program via a forum post back in 2008, but they were training up individuals for up to 10 years in double majors in science, computer science, etc., and putting them through special forces training. And I thought, how interesting. And then they were making them corporate leaders, CEOs. And if you look at any of the large Israeli companies, and there's many of them, they've all gone through this program to a T. So this is Israeli military intelligence training CEOs. This is vital to understand. And one man in particular, although he didn't go through the program, he was one of the founders, and that is Zohar Zisapel, RAD Group, RAD. And yet RAD Group is one of their biggest companies with up to 20 sub-companies, which is handling European and American telecommunications, critical infrastructure security, electrical grids, government VoIP encryption, radar systems, military encryption communications. People think, well, they must be American, of course. No, they're not American. They're Israeli. And then, of course, you have the Intel factory, the most advanced Intel CPU design and fabrication, not just fabrication, design in Israel. And most people still to this day have no idea that Israel is basically a cyber technology juggernaut. And Benjamin Netanyahu brags, we're only a little bit smaller than the United States. And he brags, we are the second eye of the Five Eyes network. This is incredible. And that's their power. So when you hear America, think Israel.
I even spilt the big secrets of Unit 8200 and yeshiva military academies and backdooring police intercept equipment in 2014 in a counter-terrorism police interview. This is 2014.
The DEA, they used to do that. Do you realise the Israeli company Variant do the data intercepts with WA Police and the Federal Police? No. It's an Israeli company. The DEA in 2001 wanted to throw up. The NSA circulated a top secret memo saying the DEA is complaining that every time they go after an American Jewish drug dealer or an Israeli drug dealer, that they're changing their habits, ridding their phones, jumping on planes, and therefore they believe Variant, as a military intelligence originating startup company, was in fact putting backdoors in the equipment. That's Variant. So this is what obviously and also the yeshiva military academies. There's things called yeshiva military academies where ultra-Orthodox Jews go to train. They receive instruction, the nuts, the stuff they read out of the Babylonian Talmud, the Shulchan Aruch. These are books of the Mishnah or oral law. They are lunacy. They make Adolf Hitler and National Socialist ideology look tame. They're told to slaughter the Palestinians as they're animals. They have no soul. Anyone could go on. These are the yeshiva military academies, and these are very dangerous because you have Australians. It's a bit like ISIS. Everyone would be very worried if, as Australian Muslims, are going to train with ISIS. Well, we have a very big problem with Australian Jews going to train in the yeshiva military academies where they receive training in special forces training. They get their combat pilots from there. They want the best of the best from there. The most committed ideologues to the Israeli state. Explosives training, firearms training, so on. Electronic data intercept, specialists in hardware, software development, all sorts of stuff. They then go from there, and guess what? They come back to Australia, and then they get into a private military institutions.
You've never heard my name. But still, here we sit and the song remains the same on the coffee mug selling pretend alt media. In this older video from 2014, we will attend to the very core issues of an Israeli state built on religious, racial and religious supremacism, built on blood and secular academics calling for the slaughter of Palestinians in full view, built on the joke mantra of a two-state solution that everyone knows is impossible to implement, built on the assassination of an Israeli prime minister by a Russian-Israeli cult, all in 1995.
Outside the hospital, a crowd began to chant, "Bibi is a murderer."
And most of all, a state built on blackmail, bribery and the biggest espionage case in history, funded and coddled by an international banking cartel in bed with the old Soviet Union gang. I think it's time we looked a little deeper. We must not accept crumbs, we want the full menu. Let us attend.
In cyber is a real domain of power. In cyber is a real domain of power.
So I tell you, the Friends of Palestine, you bunch of retards, why are you focusing on fruit and SodaStream makers on the West Bank? Why aren't you focusing on the multi-billion-dollar military technology exports of Israel? We're talking AWACS early warning aircraft, we're talking electronics warfare systems for submarines, we're talking armoured personnel carriers, we're talking situational awareness software for integrated battlefield systems, we're talking about LBIT systems or EBIT systems, the drone technology of which Australia has major contracts. It's about $2 billion worth of contracts. There's their Israeli spying operations, their military intelligence apparatus under Operation Talpiot, who trained up their people to become private entrepreneurs, and now they dominate the technology industry. Encryption for corporations, military all over the world, databases, then we have Facebook, we have Google. They're collating data on everyone and everything. Okay, Friends of Palestine, it's staring you in the face. Why aren't you doing it? Maybe there's just way too many little Jewish Zionists in your organisations. Alex Wilson, I believe you're sincere. I've seen you talk. You're definitely sincere. Wake the fuck up, matey, and focus on those issues, and this war will be over. I don't even know what the date is. I know it's a Saturday, and the month is July. I'm not sure what the date is, but it's a Friends of Palestine rally in Perth, and I remember almost 5 years ago, pretty closely, May the 2nd, 2009, I headed off to another Friends of Palestine rally in South Perth at the IGA supermarket, and we all know what happened after that. But I'm going to head down today. I have to be quiet because I'm heading off to another place on Monday, a couple of days away. And I'd hate to get arrested. I'm sure my friends from State Counterterrorism will be down there. This is about SAS Campbell Barracks, Leon Wind, Variant. Okay. Timothy, you told me that Variant does your local and national, your local police intercepts, an Israeli intelligence front.
Pop you in the car.
Yeah, I know you are, Tim. You, Tim. Okay. I'll tell you. Well, you know, what's to say? The usual. Israel up to its usual thing that Jews do in Israel, and to follow their holy books, Talmud, Shulchan Aruch. The Old Testament, you know, the book of Samuel, slay them all, spare them not, kill man, woman, infant and suckling, suckling meaning newborn baby, camel and ass, meaning wipe out everything. And if you read the book of Joshua, Samuel, you'll see it constantly throughout the Old Testament. Anyone gets in your way, slaughter them.
After a long blast on the horn of a ram, Joshua led the assault and spared nothing before him. Chapter 6 of the book of Joshua. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city as an offering to God. Young and old, men and women, sheep and ox and ass, all were put to the edge of the sword.
It's just as if you're watching surgery. It looks horrific. There's blood pouring out, but it's for the best. It says in Ezekiel, there's a time to kill, and sometimes you have to kill. I'm not saying it's good. It destroys the soul. But that's the Jewish law. And if that's what Joshua did, I've no doubt it's right.
The application of the divine word to a complex world without that middle stage of interpretation can be a very destructive activity. And what happened really in the 1st and 2nd centuries is that in effect the collected judgment of the sages is that none of the wars Joshua fought were meaningful anymore. The way they did this is to say that every one of those nations could no longer be identified. So that's been the situation in Judaism for 2,000 years. Those texts are simply sealed. They're inapplicable to the present.
Maybe the old tribes don't exist anymore, but the Palestinians are not even a nation, just a collection of peoples from Jordan and Egypt. They're not a nation. But I do think we have to learn from Joshua, who followed God's law, and I wish we had a commander in the army, and indeed a prime minister who would follow God's law.
They are living this today. This is what's unique about Jewish power. It's fucking psychotic. You cannot even live the Old Testament, let alone the Mishnah or oral law, which is found in the Shulchan Aruch and Babylonian Talmud, which is even sicker. At least there is some balancing good within the Old Testament. But by God, we've got, if you will just focus on Jewish racial and religious supremacism, look at their books, look at what they do, this fight will be over very quickly. So it's enough talk so I can lead by example, as we all do. I hope to see you out there on the streets in the coming months and years, and we can end this foul, disgusting, racist apartheid state called Israel. I'm about to head out in the train, and I'll give you a little look at beautiful Perth on my way there. It is a little paradise, but not for too much longer. Maybe that's the problem. But got to give it to Rupert. He did do the 4-part series on Israeli spying in the US in 2001. Thank you, Rupert Murdoch. So here I am at Murdoch Station, and there's the new $1.2 billion Fiona Stanley Hospital. Huge. And that way is the Murray Street Mall and the Friends of Palestine rally. There is the central city, about 12 kilometres away, 8 kilometres away. Now I wonder if, I remember Alex Risson, I spoke to him a while back. I recorded that on video as well, where he said he didn't know that the Old Testament was actually Jewish. He was saying, oh, that Christian Bible with their stuff, anti-gay stuff and violence or whatever he said, I can't remember. But I said, you do realise that's the Jewish Bible, mate. He didn't have a clue. So I tell you, the Friends of Palestine, you bunch of retards, why are you focusing on fruit and soda stream makers on the West Bank? Why aren't you focusing on the multi-billion-dollar military technology exports of Israel? We're talking AWACS early warning aircraft. We're talking electronics warfare systems for submarines. We're talking armoured personnel carriers. We're talking situational awareness software for integrated battlefield systems. We're talking about LBIT systems or EBIT systems. The drone technology, of which Australia has major contracts, is about $2 billion worth of contracts. There's their Israeli spying operations, their military intelligence apparatus under Operation Talpiot, who trained up their people to become private entrepreneurs, and now they dominate the technology industry. Encryption for corporations, military all over the world, databases. Then we have Facebook, we have Google. They're collating data on everyone and everything. Okay, Friends of Palestine, it's staring you in the face. Why aren't you doing it? Maybe there's just way too many little Jewish Zionists in your organisations. Alex Risson, I believe you're sincere. I've seen you talk. You're definitely sincere. Wake the fuck up, matey, and focus on those issues, and this war will be over. That's who runs this town. BHP Billiton. Oil and gas industry, mining industry. All these cranes are everywhere over town. And here we are in the Murray Street Mall. Now we can play spot counter-terrorism. Let me see, I can usually spot them pretty easy. Well, what's that over there? Yeah. Anyway, what I'm more interested in is those from the Jewish community, their little security detail. Every local Jewish community has a little security detail. And they come out and they all think they're James Bond and fucking Mossad assassins, and they're gonna film all those evil protesters. See if we can spot a few of those. Well, they're setting up the rally now. You can see the unwashed masses, the ferals, the usual, the left handing out their communist literature, which I might add, I admire them, at least they're out on the street. So that's the ultra-left wingers. Where are the ultra-right wingers? Well, they're all at home, masturbating, child porn, masturbating at pictures of Hitler, basically doing a little bit threatening to exterminate the Jews, so we can wipe them out. We have our beloved Muslims here, of course. Salam alaikum. My brothers and sisters, you know who you are. They're down here, of course, hanging with the communists, which is funny, the sworn enemy of religion. But anyway, let's not let irony and parody get in the way of a good protest. But yeah, handing out literature on that idiot Tony Abbott. Speaking of ultra-right wingers, the guy has lost the plot. But anyway, what's going to happen here, I have no idea. I'm just going to sit and listen, really. I'm not going to do anything outrageous. Just hear the usual shit. You never know, maybe they might wake up, we don't know. But if you can pressure, if you know the Friends of Palestine groups around the world, if you can pressure them, educate them and get them to actually focus on the issues that matter, which doesn't include soda stream makers and fruit from the West Bank, but the technology juggernaut that Israel has become.
You know the 5 eyes? Israel is the 6th eye? No, Israel is the 2nd eye. Israel is the 2nd eye. Israel is the 2nd eye. Israel is the 2nd eye.
Oh my, my, my.
Let's not forget the Intel factory, the gigantic high-tech research and development Intel chip fabrication factory in Israel. Hardly anyone knows about that, opened in 2006. What a great thing to boycott. Go for AMD. Now AMD have joint ventures with China, who are admittedly very good at putting backdoors and things themselves, but at least with the Chinese, they only want your money. Israel wants your soul. So I urge you to boycott Intel. There's a whole range of things, really big things. And is the Friends of Palestine mentioning this? Word is, I've had online, no, it's the same old crap. Something very wrong with the Friends of Palestine group. She's tucking into her donut and coffee. She'll be on time and a half. And here they are. I don't know if Alex Wisson is still the head of the Friends of Palestine, but I shall see.
Inflicted on the Palestinian people by the Israeli state. And we're here today to call for an end to the siege of Gaza and fearful for their own lives. So please once again give Eamon a warm welcome.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you for coming. It's probably very hard for me to stand in front of you.
After a long blast on the horn of a ram, Joshua led the assault and spared nothing before him. Chapter 6 of the book of Joshua. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city as an offering to God. Young and old, men and women, sheep and ox and ass, all were put to the edge of the sword.
It's just as if you're watching surgery. It looks horrific. There's blood pouring out, but it's for the best. It says in Ezekiel, there's a time to kill, and sometimes you have to kill. I'm not saying it's good. It destroys the soul. But that's the Jewish law. And if that's what Joshua did, I've no doubt it's right.
The application of the divine word to a complex world. Without that middle stage of interpretation can be a very destructive activity.
Yeah, well, it's the usual old stuff. We're all outraged. Oh, it's horrible. Oh, boo-hoo. Oh, it's horrible. Slaughter, slaughter, slaughter. It's the same old stuff. All the commies are here. God bless them. God bless the left. Go the left. You're the only ones doing anything. They mentioned that the Christian churches, various denominations were invited, but no response. Well, why would they? They're all a bunch of pedophiles and in the hands of Israel anyway and US power. And then, of course, we have the usual. We've got the union movement, of course. God bless the union movement. They're doing something. But, of course, it's the same old stuff. Now, if they actually start talking about something interesting, such as Israeli contracts, military contracts, technology.
Timothy, you told me that Variant does your local and national, your local police intercepts, an Israeli intelligence front.
Here we have Louis handing out some flyers. We gave some to the local state police. I told the local state police, did they know that an Israeli company, Variant, does all their data intercepts for state police and the Australian Federal Police? I didn't mention that, of course, the Israeli company Amdocs does all the billing for Telstra, the largest telco. These are things the BDS movement can go after, and these are also a national security risk. And I hope one day we'll see banners in these marches discussing exactly that. Hey guys, did you know an Israeli company does your data intercepts? Variant, they do the data intercepts for the police.
They know nothing, dude.
Local and federal police. Amdocs, Israeli company, do the billing for Telstra, so they know who we're calling. Boycotting that technology, and if they talk about their books and what they do, the Jewish racial and religious supremacism, I'll switch my camera on, otherwise I'm just not going to bother because I've heard all this shit before. So I just spoke briefly with Amon, the Palestinian from Gaza, and again, he doesn't want to go on camera, but he agrees that yes, there's a religious side, but no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to talk about Rabbi Ovadia Yosef calling on non-Jew slaves, calling for the Israeli Defense Force. This is the head rabbi, Sephardic rabbi of Israel, calling for the slaughter of men, women and children, quoting from the Talmud, Old Testament and Shulchan Aruch. No one wants to talk about it. Nobody. They're all too scared to talk about it. And then, of course, we have the Israeli military contracts. And again, nobody wants to talk about it. Everyone says, I don't know anything about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. I'm hearing the same old shit at these Friends of Palestine rallies everywhere. They're saying the same old crap. No one will talk about the elephant in the living room. If they won't talk about it, then I guess we're going to have to go and do it. And again, if I'd been better prepared, if I'd have known about this earlier, I would have done up those flyers with Rabbi Ovadia Yosef calling Palestinians evil and damnable, send them rockets with relish, kill them all, men, women and children. That is the head Sephardic rabbi of Israel, with 1 million people turning out on the street for his funeral, and none of these clowns want to talk about it. They don't even want to talk about it. That's outrageous. And I hope I said that loud enough for people around me to hear. I'm sick of this shit. Here we go, screaming, y'all. The racism. Talk about the racism. It's in their books. It's in their holy books. Talk about the Talmud. Talk about their holy books.
There is only one state in the Levant that has as its fundamental goal the ethnic cleansing of another people. And that is the state of Israel, which has no interest in a two-state solution, which is the only state in the region that wishes to eliminate from the world the memory of the people who
Blot out the memory of Amalek, yeah. Straight out of their book. Now she said something very interesting there, blot out their memory. That is straight out of the Old Testament. Blot out the memory of Amalek. Blot out the memory of Amalek. Hannah Kasher, an Israeli academic, called the Palestinians Amalekites. She's quoting from the book of Samuel.
You're saying that the Jews are all racist? Is that what you're saying?
Your religion is a religion of racism, hate, homicide, and ethnic cleansing.
The Jewish people are racist.
Go and smite Amalek, destroy them all.
Disgusting.
Sheep, kill all the sheep, the women and children.
And I'm offended and I'm disgusted.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
What is your name, please?
Brendan O'Connell.
Brendan O'Connell, what is your name? What is your name, please? You just told me that Jewish people are all racist. That's what
you have a religion of race and hate.
And I'm going to go further back. What was it, Brendan O'Connell?
Brendan O'Connell.
I'll go further back because there's no way you can come to me and tell me that Jewish people are all racist.
You are racist, homicidal maniacs.
Disgusting point.
That's cool.
Thank you.
You are racist, homicidal maniacs.
Jewish people are racist. I'm incredibly offended.
You're racist, homicidal maniacs taking my photo without permission. You didn't engage us. You didn't come shake our hand.
How dare you say...
You are a racist Jew. Tell us about Hannah Kasher and how the Israeli academic who says that women and children are fair game in the fight against the Palestinians.
Where she said, slay them all, spare them not, kill men, women, children, infant and suckling, camel and ass. That is straight out of the Old Testament. And this is what the rabbis are quoting to the Israeli troops when they go.
Amalek is the hereditary enemy of Israel. The primary proof text here is in the Old Testament in 1 Samuel, where Yahweh says, and I quote, I have decided to settle accounts with the nation of Amalek for opposing Israel when they came out of Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek utterly, and destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep. End quote. With the history of Palestine and the Palestinians, because many observers of the Israeli occupation of the Palestinians have been particularly puzzled by the onerous features of that policy which seem to constitute collective punishment. For example, the blockade and closure of whole Palestinian cities because of the actions of a few Palestinian guerrillas, or the recent admonition by Israeli Security Minister Gideon Ezra, who, according to the Sydney Morning Herald of August 20th, 2001, advocates the, quote, liquidation of the fathers of Palestinian resistance fighters. And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, in Jewish religious law, where you are advocating the liquidation of fathers, you have already labeled the sons Amalek. So it would seem that this Amalek category includes both revisionist and dissident historians as well as Palestinians. Indeed, the Israeli academic Hannah Kasher, a researcher at Bar Ilan University, I was able to find her paper on the internet. I don't think it was meant for me, but if you learn how to use the internet, how to sleuth on it, it can be a marvelous tool. She wrote a thinly veiled scholarly rationale for Israeli collective punishment of Palestinians. You can see how thinly veiled it is from her title, Rationales Justifying Collective Punishment of Amalek. Professor Kasher writes that the, quote, commandment to blot out Amalek has not essentially been nullified. Now, she's writing this last year. And she adds, and I quote, any person descended of Amalek has a death sentence over his head from the moment of his birth, even if he himself has committed no sin. His culpability is innate. Professor Kasher, who wrote those words last year, states that the struggle against Amalek is a war of annihilation against a contemporary foe, in which one does not refrain from killing women and children. End quote, from a contemporary Israeli academic, talking about a contemporary foe that deserves genocide. Professor Kasher adds that the Talmudic sage Maimonides, who justifies the collective punishment of Amalek, civilians as well as combatants, does so as a justifiable deterrent effect. And of course, we have heard Israeli Prime Minister Sharon use those very words. In 1986, the Israeli Army Chief Chaplain, known as Rabbi Shmuel Durlik, issued an order to the army to annihilate all Arabs because he said they are Amalek. When his statement was vigorously protested, Rabbi Durlik said his sermon to the army had been misunderstood and he was actually identifying Amalek with the Germans, not the Arabs. And that reference is from the Nation magazine, August 16th, 1986, page 103. The ancient Talmudic sage Rabbi Kahana decrees that, quote, as long as the seed of Amalek exists in the world, neither the name of the Lord nor the throne is complete. When the seed of Amalek has passed from the world, the name and the throne will be incomplete.
All right, let's come and debate. Come and debate on camera. Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, he said, kill them all, slaughter all the Palestinians. That's what Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, the head rabbi, Sephardic rabbi of Israel, quoting from the Old Testament.
Zionism is a disease.
I agree.
Judaism isn't a disease.
Where do I wait?
Judaism
they quote from those books?
Judaism is a religion.
But I tell you what, nobody against a fellow Jew. I got a friend Jewish people. I work with
That's
them
not
like
the issue
this.
though.
The issue is
Zionism is the issue.
Zionism.
They're not Jews.
Yeah.
They don't follow their
Where does it come
when
from?
When they kill people, they don't follow
What are you
their
talking? All right.
Have
you read the Old Testament?
People are defending
And have you read the book of Joshua? Slay them all. The book of Samuel. Slay
That's
them all.
exactly
Spare
right.
them not.
That's exactly
You understand?
right.
They quote from it. The rabbis quote. You're not telling it. The rabbis quote from it.
Saying the truth.
The rabbis quote from it. Tell the IDF troops, kill them all, men, women, and children.
That's
it's in
exactly
the book,
right.
the Torah. Tell them.
From the Torah, yeah.
Thank
I
you.
agree with you, man.
I spent 3 years in jail on this.
Yeah.
3 fucking years.
A Perth man who posted an anti-Jewish video on the internet has been jailed for 3 years. The victim of the racist rant says the sentence isn't long enough.
This is the racist video that shocked Perth's Jewish community.
Your days are numbered, and we're going to rescue as many of your victim cult members as we can.
2 young Jewish men bullied relentlessly the 15-minute rant posted on YouTube.
You are racist, homicidal maniacs.
Today, the man responsible, Brendan O'Connell, was jailed for 3 years after being convicted of race hate crimes. It's believed he's the first person in the state to be found guilty under new racial vilification laws. The judge described him as a bully who has an irrational hatred of Jews. One of the men victimised in the video says O'Connell has made his life hell and that the sentence is inadequate.
Wish he was going for longer. I've been harassed continuously for the last 18 months.
But the jail term's been welcomed by the Jewish community.
I think it was a victory for decency and against bigotry and prejudice. On future occasions, it could be Muslims or Asians or any group, and so we should all be happy about this result.
There was extra security in the courtroom for the sentencing. After being told he would serve 3 years in jail, O'Connell yelled out, "That's a holiday camp compared to Gaza." O'Connell will spend at least 18 months behind bars before he's eligible for parole. Tegan Sapwell at 10 News.
You are a really fine man, and I am proud to see people like you because you understand, you know. But some people, they don't understand the reality of the Zionism and things like that, you know. Yeah, but people, they in Israel, we need people like you to go and tell the truth, you know, so the people they can understand, you know. Honestly, we are all human beings and we are all the same race. But what we want to do, compromise, put the head together so we solve the problem.
But no one will talk about Judaism as the foundation for Zionism. Their books, their own books.
That's right, exactly. No, he's right. He's right.
Look, Israel Shamir, one of the biggest Israeli activists in the world, he has standing ovations at London universities. You know what he says? Israel Shamir? Palestine is not the ultimate goal of the Jews.
No.
The world is.
The whole, exactly.
Okay.
Why you don't stand there?
Yeah, why? They won't let me. 3 years in jail.
Man, we need people like you. Come and stand and tell the world. Tell the world. You know, this is what Judaism, this is Zionism and things like that.
What about if we meet at another time? I have to go to Sydney on Monday to do more activism.
Where do I know you from?
I've been, I don't know, who knows?
I've seen your face around.
Man, I've been on the national TV.
But you've been in...
They had Rabbi Gobert Freelich. I had one of the biggest cases.
You're not a Zionist?
No! I'm a Catholic.
He's with us.
I'm a stupid Catholic, mate.
Yeah,
no.
He is very understandable guy.
Please.
I really,
God bless
look,
you,
I really, look.
We're all brothers
You are
absolutely. I want peace like you,
but
but please, I write about Israeli intelligence activity before about it. The military contracts are huge in Australia. Everyone's talking about fruits and soda stream makers. What about the billions, the drone technology, $300 million?
My issue has to do with our national security and specifically our critical infrastructure. So I found that Microsoft core codes their products from the Azure cloud to Microsoft Office and to Windows in Israel. These products are being used by our Pentagon, our weapons labs, Boeing, your local businesses and universities. And they're core-coded by graduates of the Israeli Military Intelligence Program, Talpiot and Unit 8200.
What you said, that the goal of the Israelis is not Palestine, it's the whole world. The whole world. And look what they're doing. They control the world economically, and the propaganda, holding the United States by the balls.
This was an insane war that brought us low economically, morally. We went to war against a guy who had absolutely nothing to do with 9/11. It was a total pretext. It's inexplicable. And there you go to Cheney, there you go to Bush, there you go to the Jewish neocons who wanted to remake the world. Maybe I can say that because I'm Jewish, and to bring about a certain result.
I'm not really sure that you can.
Okay.
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure that you can.
Go ahead.
You're much worse if a Southern Baptist said that. Actually, some would accuse you of Bush derangement syndrome there, that there was this grand conspiracy of the neocons, and you said Jewish neocons, that they somehow went to war on a pretext for the state of Israel.
And we need people like you, man.
But do you know what happened when I pointed that out?
Yeah.
I was at a rally, Friends of Palestine in 2009.
I was here.
Well, Stanley Kaiser came out, and I said, Hannah Kasher said, an Israeli academic, she quoted from the Book of Samuel in the Old Testament, and she justified the collective punishment of the Palestinians by quoting from the Old Testament. She said, Book of Samuel, they wanted to blot out the memory of the Amalekites, and God commanded the Jews or the Israelites to slay them all, spare them not, kill men and women and children, infants and sucklings. That's newborn babies. That's the problem.
I wish I got your knowledge. I wish.
3 years in jail. They said, if you just say sorry, we'll let you out. I said, no. I did a 79-day hunger strike.
A man with a principle. Okay. A man with a principle.
Thank God. I'm glad you're here to understand. Thank God.
I love people like you. I love people like you. Really. Because you are really understandable and you know what's going on.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, wasn't that interesting? The time is, what is the time? Time is 12:51. I actually missed the march, and as you heard some of the Palestinian crowd. They didn't realise I was actually for them, and they actually got quite nasty. And then one of the old guys came over and understood the issues, and you can see how, thank God, he understands the issues. Look at their books, look at what they do. I'll repeat it for you. Look at their books, look at what they do. If you do, you'll understand the issues. They are merely following their religious texts. And as Israeli activist Israel Shamir says, Palestine is not the ultimate goal of the Jews, the world is. You're going to get it eventually. I think we're all seeing it unfold. The great thing about it now is I've made some really good contacts. I'm of course heading off on a plane on Monday, leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back in, but I will be back. Now the energy is shifting. Now I'm going to start to get support. I'm going to go over there with Brian. We're going to do some work. And actually I'm going to call it having a Brian.
Liberal Labor, they all only look after the Jewish bankers. They always sell out the Australian people. When are you going to look after the Australian public like the Constitution says? Why are you going to only look after the bankers and the corporations, Tony? You want to make the billionaires even richer? Shame! Liberal, Labor, you're both bad, but Labor's a little bit better for the working class.
Israeli intel activity, Operation Talpiot. I spoke to some of the guys you would have heard. They were filming me and tried to get these young guys, and they were really happy talking about Operation Talpiot, the military contracts, the Israeli high-tech. Get into this issue, they're finished, they're done, they're dusted. I'll probably end up dead, but I don't care. Seriously, I don't care. Bring it on, let's rock.
I have decided to settle accounts with the nation of Amalek for opposing Israel when they came out of Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek utterly, and destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep.
Perhaps you can understand